Last Monday, I made a video talking about how Candace Owens made the statement regarding gangster rap being made by the federal government. Now, I filmed an entire about 35-minute video on Monday afternoon, and after I filmed that entire video and put that entire video together, I found when I put that video up, it had a yellow $sign saying it was going to get limited revenue from YouTube, which basically means the entire video was demonetized. Now, I wanted to have this video premiere on Wednesday, and I wanted to have this video premiere on Wednesday because I had a full schedule. I'd already had 2 other videos set to premiere on Monday and Tuesday, and I wanted to be able to talk about this subject in depth, and I wanted to be able to talk about this subject completely in depth to basically debunk both Candace Owens and Ice Cube's statements with facts as related to history. However, I had to delay that premiere because I was waiting for this video to get monetized, because with YouTube, what happens is that if a video doesn't get monetized as related to the premiere, you don't make any money on that video. And I was waiting for this to get resolved. They come back to me on Wednesday, and they come back to me and have a response saying that they continue to demonetize the video all over one word. Now, the entire video, they go to just a 3 or 4 second clip of me using one word, which is the term for raccoon. And again, basically, they use this to basically demonetize the entire video. Use this to demonetize the entire video over one word. And their response, which really pissed me off, is saying that they did this while the video met all of the community guidelines. They basically wanted to just say, well, we have other rules that are in place. And I have to say, I thought the community guidelines were the rules, but it seemed like this video reviewer was just basically making things up based on their feelings and not following the community guidelines of YouTube, because this video had no profanity, had no language as related to racial slurs, had none of that at all, but they still demonetized it based on the arbitrary feelings of this reviewer. And it just basically shows me how the YouTube system really isn't objective towards content creators, and basically many of these individuals working behind the scenes really are really petty because you demonetize an entire video over one word. And again, that basically shows how, and again, this is just unethical because, again, it didn't go against community guidelines. It didn't have anything that was detrimental. And again, all the check boxes were checked as related to all of the talking point, other things like they say, like hate speech and sexuality. And again, this word wasn't even a profane word, but this person, again, just did this just to be petty. And this is one of the reasons why I basically have been really considering quitting this whole platform and quitting social media. And if I had a full-time job, I basically would have walked away from this platform, because when it comes to YouTube these days, there's just so much stress on this platform in making content. There's just so much stress in making content because of these arbitrary community guidelines and these AI bots that basically can demonetize a video based on an arbitrary set of reasons. Moreover, you got these reviewers who basically go based on their opinion and don't present things as related to objective facts, because somebody could, again, use the same word in their video and get complete monetization, but a black person, it seems these days, if you just say one thing that's wrong, they'll take the whole video and demonetize it, or even flag the video. And again, just basically shows how arbitrary these community guidelines are. And this has been a major part of the stress I have been having as related to being on these platforms, because you don't know if you can basically wind up losing everything based on the whims of an individual. You don't know if you could basically wind up losing everything based on just the arbitrary whim of an individual, because many of these people who work at YouTube don't really see us content creators as people who basically need to do this to make a living, and they don't see how they could basically derail a person's ability to make a living and create a lot of anxiety for us content creators, make a lot of anxiety for us content creators, because we don't know where the guidelines are. And again, it creates a lot of stress for us, because we could basically wind up losing everything, get kicked out of the partner program as related to things. And again, it's really troubling, because you can see someone like a Cynthia G basically stay on this platform for years, get all sorts of videos monetized that basically say all sorts of detrimental and negative things. But the whole thing is that if you go out here and put up some content, you don't really know who you can trust. And again, that's one of the big problems at YouTube that causes me a lot of stress these days, to the point where I'm having anxiety and chest pains and stress like that. I mean, basically, it's a lot of stress creating content on this platform these days. And that's one of the reasons why I really have been considering just walking away from this platform, because again, you never know what you're going to run into. You never know what you're going to run into. I mean, if you want to make commentary on a news program, like I did with a Diddy video where Diddy was arrested, that video was not monetized at all. And this video about Candace Owens didn't get monetized, again, based on one word. And again, this is one of the reasons why, again, I just really want to leave this platform. I want to just go out here and move on. I mean, this platform, again, is just too much stress to deal with these days. And again, I'm having anxiety. And again, I really, again, just am so frustrated. I just want to walk away from this platform. If I had the money, I would just walk away from this platform. But I want you to basically be the judge as related to this video. So I'm gonna play this video for all of you to see. I'm gonna put the entire video that was demonetized over one word up in front of you and show you what the pettiness of YouTube is as related to their arbitrary decisions, and show you what really is stressing me out about this platform, and why I just want to walk away from this platform and just be done with this platform. I mean, if I could get a full-time job, I would walk away from this platform, because this whole social media has become very antisocial, filled with a lot of petty antisocial people. And this whole situation is one of those that is having me thinking about just walking away. But I want you to take a look at this video for yourselves. Now, this video is not going to be monetized, so if you guys want to help out, you can drop a donation to the Cash App or the PayPal, and that would be greatly appreciated from you. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes, 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue. Candace Owens is making some controversial observations regarding the creation of gangsta rap. Now, according to Candace Owens, gangsta rap was never about black culture, and she says that it was created by the feds, who offered deals to alphabet black men in prison, then turned them into artificial celebrities. And she says the goal was to create false idols to destroy black American values, and no one will change her mind on this. And as she made this post on social media, it got the attention of one of the founders of gangsta rap, NWA member Ice Cube, who says that we called it reality rap, and the industry coined it gangsta rap, and that the fans wanted gangsta rap, and that's what they got, and the feds didn't write any of his stuff because he's a real MC. Now, when I look at both of these statements, they basically show me how both of these bootlicks are completely being disingenuous regarding the history of gangster rap, and both of them basically want to cover their asses to avoid being accountable for the opportunism they both want to participate in. Now, when it comes to Candace Owens, the only reason why she's making this statement on social media is because she's basically been kicked off of platforms like the Daily Wire, and since Josh Shapiro is no longer funding Candace Owens anymore, basically Candace Owens is on her own, and now that she's on her own, what she wants to do is basically take talking points from new black media and try to spin them to fit her own narrative. And as she looks to spin those talking points to fit her own narrative, what she wants to do is create a story that about gangster rap that is half true, because this story it basically is completely inaccurate if you know the entire history of rap music, like I do as a child who grew up in the 80s and grew up around rap music. Most of what Candace Owens is presenting here is being presented in an extremely disingenuous fashion as she looks to create her own conspiracy theories and talking points to basically fit her own narrative, and that narrative basically is her looking to again manipulate the narrative to fit her own political platform. Now, the same thing is going on with Ice Cube, who basically is a bootlick, was always a bootlick since the 1980s, when he, Dr. Dre, and Eazy-E, and Yella formed NWA, or as I like to call them, MWA, the Minstrels with Attitude. Now, Ice Cube, in his tweet, also was being extremely disingenuous as related to what he says is reality rap, because that's a bunch of bullshit as I know it from knowing the history of rap. No, it was not called reality rap at all. No, it was originally called hardcore rap, and hardcore rap basically was done by rappers on the East Coast such as Just Ice, guys like KRS-One, and West Coast rappers like Ice-T. And again, these rappers basically rapped about the hardness of the streets and the life in the streets and the problems of the streets. So that was hardcore rap, and we also had other hardcore rappers such as Cool G Rap. And again, and you had also rappers like Rob Bass, who did it in a song called Times Are Getting Ill. Again, what they call hardcore, that's what was all about, talking about life on the street. But you'll have Ice Cube looking to again try to make things fit his revisionist narrative, and again both of them want to make everything fit their revisionist narrative, because what they want to do is manipulate these narratives to fit within the talking points of the media arm of white supremacy. And that's what you see here with this battle of the bootlicks. Both of these bootlicks are looking to try to fit their revisionist narrative and talking points to fit within the framework of the media arm of white supremacy. And both of these bootlicks are basically jockeying for a position with the white supremacists in not only the media arm of white supremacy, but the overall institution of white supremacy. That's what's happening here as related to this back and forth between Candace Owens and Ice Cube. Ice Cube basically sees Candace Owens as a threat to his position that he's been jockeying for in the media arm of white supremacy, because Ice Cube basically sold the black community out way back in 1988, and now that he's climbed up that ladder of white supremacy and is now getting favor with people like Tucker Carlson, a known racist, he basically fears that Candace Owens, a black woman, if she goes out here and makes this kind of statement regarding the history of gangster rap, could possibly knock him out of his position as related to his bootlicking. So what's going on here again is a battle between the bootlicks, and both of these bootlicks are just out here bullshitting and talking a lot of crap that basically doesn't really fit the actual historical narrative as related to the creation of gangster rap. Now, when it comes to the history of gangster rap, gangster rap was not really created by the government, as Candace Owens wants to claim. No, when it comes to gangster rap was created by the entertainment industry, and it was created by the media arm of white supremacy, because the media arm of white supremacy did not like the fact that rap music was, one, created by foundational black Americans here in the Bronx, and two, they did not like the messages of rap music that was created by foundational black Americans, because it promoted a positive message to black people that they could go out here and achieve and create a message that you don't have to live in the squalor of the ghetto, but you could take your power as a black person. That's what they didn't like about rhythm and poetry that was created here in the South Bronx, as it became a popular music form in spite of efforts from the media arm of white supremacy to squash it by going out here and refusing to distribute black records at mainstream stores here in New York, like The Wiz and Crazy Eddie, and many of the other stores like Sam Goody. I mean, you could not get rap music at those stores. No, you had to go to places like in Harlem when Shakulu Shang had the Record Shack to get those records, or you had to go outside the clubs where these rappers performed to get them to give you a tape that they bought out of the backseat of their car. That's the foundational history of foundational black American rap music that was created by rappers like the Sugar Hill Gang, who made the message, I believe. I mean, it's been a long time, but the whole thing is rap music was always a positive media music form, and it was a positive music form created by foundational black Americans for foundational black Americans in the Bronx, and it became popular because it basically told the message that foundational black Americans wanted to talk about regarding the blight here in ghettos that I used to live in, like Morrisania. It told the story that even though there was all of this blight of burnt down abandoned buildings, abandoned lots, black people still had hope, and still had hope to go out here and take the resources that they have to create this music form. However, Candace Owens doesn't know about the history of rap music, but there is one thing I will agree with her on, and even though she's sitting there lying, in that gangster rap was never about black culture. No, it never was about black culture, because the actual form of music that Ice Cube wants to try to revise his story to say that the industry coined was gangster rap actually was called hardcore rap. And hardcore rap music, this is what rapped about life on the streets and how rough life on the streets was. Hardcore rap music was pioneered by rappers like the West Coast Ice-T, who will tell you about hardcore music because he had hardcore music back in the 1980s. And there are other hardcore rappers like Just Ice, who came out with a song talking about welfare, welfare, welfare check. Everybody come and get your welfare check. And then you had guys like KRS-One, who also talked about raps from the streets, and like his iconic music from like his iconic record Criminal Minded. Again, these were hardcore rappers. Hardcore rap music was all about talking about the struggles of black people as they dealt with poverty, and that's what the original title of that music was. It was hardcore rap music, but the whole thing is Ice Cube wants to say that they called it reality rap. It was never called reality rap. It was called hardcore rap. And again, when it came to gangster rap was something manufactured not by the government, but by corporate executives in the entertainment industry. It was created by corporate executives in the music business and the business of the entertainment industry, because they basically did not like the narratives of rap music created by foundational black Americans, nor did they like the positive messages presented by men like Bill Cosby when rap was starting to come into its emerge as popular. At the same time, because I was 11 years old at the time, we had the Cosby Show coming out, we had rap music coming out, and we had a whole culture of positivity evolving in the black community. And what the media arm of white supremacy didn't like was the idea of black people getting a positive frame of thinking, a positive frame of mindset, a positive way of thinking about themselves, and black people starting to love themselves and starting to love each other. This is what the white supremacists in the mainstream media did not like seeing regarding the image of black people, as black people were taking more and more control over their image. And as black people started taking more control over their image, we started to see people building on the success of rap music and Bill Cosby. We started to see black filmmakers like Robert Townsend come out with Hollywood Shuffle. We started to see Spike Lee start to make films. And again, the media was changing and changing the perception of Gen Xers like myself. And as it was changing our perception of self, we were no longer seeing ourselves in the racist stereotypes that the white supremacists created for us ever since the days of slavery, like the black brute, like the black Jezebel, like the sapphire. These were images that were a major part of the blaxploitation era that were presented in blaxploitation films. However, we started to see a more balanced picture of black people, and this is what the white supremacists hated seeing. And as they really started to really hate seeing these images coming across again more regularly, and they really started to hate the whole narratives that people like Bill Cosby were presenting of, again, healthy, functional black families. And they really hated it, especially when he came up with the spin-off of The Cosby Show, A Different World, which showed you black people going to college, because this media was having a positive influence on black people. And as it had a positive influence on black people, what the white supremacists didn't like was that, one, it was fostering a mindset of positivity in black people's minds. Two, it was enforcing an idea of black people being able to see themselves as valuable and having worth as people. Three, it was influencing people to love themselves and love black women. And four, it was influencing black people to see that they could have a better life than living at the bottom of the world in the ghetto. And five, they could go out here and work to improve their quality of life. This is what the white supremacists in all of white supremacy didn't want to see, because it, one, shattered their ideas of black people and shattered the whole idea of black people being at the bottom of the world. So they didn't want to see black people coming up, because when it comes to white supremacy, it's an institution that is based on the, like Professor Black Truth talks about, the giveaways, goodies, and other sorts of freebies that keep white people in a privileged position. And if black people start seeing themselves in a place where they have some sort of worth and start working towards improving their lot in life, this creates competition for the white supremacist. And what the white supremacist wanted to do was basically look to eliminate his competition. And he did this in, again, a multi-pronged attack, as he was looking to try to hijack rap music. What he wanted to do was basically destroy the minds of black people who were starting to think about leaving off this whole ghetto mindset. And part of that was done with the crack epidemic that was brought to black communities. Now, the crack epidemic was brought to black communities by white racists and white supremacists who, again, wanted to institute their war on drugs, which was started in 1970 by Richard Nixon, which was actually a war on black people. And part of that war was, again, funding another proxy war. They hoped to, again, declare war on the black community by bringing crack cocaine to the black community. Now, Ice Cube wants to say that crack cocaine was free-base cocaine, and he's partially right that it was free-base cocaine, but free-base cocaine back in the day before the crack epidemic was something only rich people could do. I mean, this is what led to the infamous fire that burned up Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor basically was freebasing cocaine, and eventually he just poured alcohol over himself and lit himself on fire. You can watch that in the movie JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. And again, only rich people could go out here and freebase cocaine because cocaine was expensive. But because there was a flood of cocaine, an excess supply of cocaine, they talk about this in the movie Scarface, and this is one of the reasons why they wanted to bring the drug to black communities so they could partially fund what they called the Contras in Nicaragua and funnel the money to, I think, another country, Iran. This is what the conspiracy theory is. But what they wanted to do was basically bring these drugs to black communities and, again, use those drugs as part of their other war on drugs, which was actually, again, a war on black people, because they did not want black people aspiring to compete with them in the actual economy of the 1980s. And what they wanted to do was say, oh, those black people, we don't want them on the job and competing with us on the job. So what they did was find the most desperate black males who grew up in single mother households and some of these entertainers, and basically had them be out here flaunting all of this money that they got for selling poison to their own people, selling poison to their own people as they were driving around in BMWs with Mercedes-Benz and Cadillacs, wearing gold chains and jogging suits. I talk about that in my book, John Hayes, 1987. And they basically had these guys running around selling dope, and then having the teenage boys with the dope, who were out here slinging the dope with them. And again, this was all part of the multi-pronged campaign to influence young black Gen Xers off the road of aspiring to go and finish school, go out here and go to college, go out here and look for jobs, or even worse, for the white supremacists, start businesses to compete against them, and basically put these guys on the road to fast money. And as they put them on the road to fast money, what the white supremacists wanted to do was basically go out and basically change the narrative of the music, of rap music, to basically fit their ideals. And when it came to the white supremacists, they basically started looking to change that narrative by going out here and offering many of these guys who were the moguls, like your Russell Simmons, and many of these guys, offering them money. And those guys basically sold out. And as they sold out on the East Coast, on the West Coast, they basically found a useful idiot in Ice Cube to basically form the NWA, who I call the MWA because they were minstrels with attitude, and get these minstrels with attitude to basically change the entire whole narrative of rap music once they go in out here and co-opted many of the East Coast guys who were producing positive music. And what they wanted to do, again, was change the narrative to fit what the white supremacists wanted to hear regarding rap music, because what the white supremacists wanted to hear regarding rap music was music that fit his view of black people, and that's how we got the gangster rap. Again, gangster rap was always made in a corporate boardroom. It was always made by white supremacists, and the white supremacists basically went out here and found useful idiots in guys like Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube wants to say that Dr. Dre was his A&R guy, but we know Dr. Dre is a big-time sellout, and if he's working with those people, they basically parroted messages had Dre parrot messages from those white executives to him, and basically had them tell him what he wanted to hear, that he was real. No, basically what they wanted to do was have this guy fit their agenda, and basically create this rap music. Again, this gangster rap music was deliberately designed to hijack the whole narrative of rap music, to fit the viewpoint of the white supremacist, and present the kind of music that would fit what the white supremacist wanted to hear. This was something that the media arm of white supremacy wanted to do. The media arm of white supremacy basically wanted to change the narrative of rap music because they knew that the influence of rap music was having too much of a positive impact, and there was too many positive messages. Moreover, there was a lot more diverse messages because we were not just getting one narrative as related to rap music. When black men controlled rap music, we had, again, with the rap music, we had not only the hardcore rap, but we had the comedy rap from rappers like the late Biz Markie and Kid and Play. We had the lyricists in guys like Rakim and Big Daddy Kane, and we had the storytellers like Rob Bass and Cool G Rap. I mean, we had, again, not only a great music form, but we had diversity of thought. But the white supremacists didn't like seeing that diversity of thought, because basically what the white supremacist wants us to see are a bunch of spellbound Negroes, and again, spellbound Negroes with monolithic thought. And that's how we got to the road to gangster rap, because gangster rap, again, was never made by black people. It was never a part of black culture. It was never a part of foundational black Americans and our music. And that's a talking point I have been making on this channel for over a decade. And Candace Owens is basically looking to parrot that talking point, because she hopes to use this as a gateway to get herself back into the far right, hoping that she will get back into the far right, hoping that somebody will hopefully give her a job. And that's partially why we've got this battle of the bootlicks, a battle of the bootlicks, where we have Candace Owens and Ice Cube going into this back and forth, these two disingenuous bootlicks who are not about black empowerment, because that's what Candace Owens is trying to make it look like. She's about black empowerment, but no, she's just about looking to make some noise, hoping that someone will hear her, and give her a job. Similar to what Ice Cube is doing. Yes, your Ice Cube has lots of money, but he's also hoping to jockey up to a higher position in the media arm of white supremacy. And again, both of these disingenuous individuals are not about black empowerment, and they're not about looking to tell you the truth about why we got gangster rap. And again, when it came to gangster rap, it wasn't really created by the federal government, but it was created by the institution of white supremacy. And the whole question of these sexual orientation of these men is quite questionable. Again, but the whole point is that yes, they made these celebrities, but white supremacy always makes celebrities. White supremacy can go out here and make anybody into a tool if they go out here and compromise with the institution of white supremacy. The white supremacist will go out here and make you into a celebrity, but the ultimate goal is to keep black people at the bottom of the world. That's what gangster rap was designed to do. Gangster rap coinciding with the crack epidemic. The ultimate goal of gangster rap and crack cocaine was to eliminate black competition in the economy, eliminate black people from having a mindset where they would go out here and look to aspire to go to school, aspire to go to college, or aspire to go out here and get that job like Bill Cosby was presenting, or more so, be like Robert Townsend and Spike Lee, be entrepreneurs who would do things like use credit cards to go out here and make your own film and start your own business. The whole reason for gangster rap was to, again, eliminate competition, and eliminate competition using black bootlicks to go out here and spellbind the black masses to fit into the black boxes that are acceptable to white people. And the boxes that the white supremacist sees as acceptable to white people are seeing black people at the bottom of the world, going out here fitting yourself into roles where you're not looking to build things. I go in depth on this in my novel, Spellbound, where the Matilda character basically is told by Mrs. Purvis about Sugar Hill in Harlem. Now, Sugar Hill in Harlem was considered to be one of the great black neighborhoods, and it was built up by foundational black Americans. Unfortunately, their children got spellbound and looked for white acceptance more than looking to empower themselves, and they abandoned their neighborhood to be a part of white culture and be living in white neighborhoods, similar to what Lorraine Hansberry talked about in her book A Raisin in the Sun. Looked to be in a white neighborhood instead of being in the neighborhood they built, all because they felt that fitting into the black box that's acceptable to white people would be better for them. And that's basically what Candace Owens and Ice Cube want to do. These are two spellbound Negroes who want to fit themselves into black bootlick boxes that are acceptable to white people, and they want to fit themselves in those boxes because they believe it's better to have a job with white supremacy than be on their own. And part of that is saying that, oh, they want to talk about gangster rap and the history of gangster rap, but the whole goal of gangster rap, again, was about destroying the black business and destroying a mindset of black empowerment in black people, have us fighting with each other, as it coincided with the crack epidemic, where we had black families turn into a civil war, where black families were killing each other if they weren't killing themselves with these drugs. And this whole plan was, again, about destroying the black family, destroying the black community. And again, gangster rap basically was meant to was one part of the warfare, because the warfare with the crack epidemic was basically, you got folks who were addicted to money, and as they got addicted to money and the power that they never had, they used it to abuse and oppress other black people. And as they used it to abuse and oppress other black people and wage war in the streets of neighborhoods like here in the South Bronx, because I lived through the crack epidemic as a kid, lived through that as a teenager, I can tell you that black people basically turned on each other, and you saw entire families fall apart. And as this was going on, we had this propaganda being presented to us with this gangsta rap music, which was, again, anti-black racism with a black face. And this anti-black racism with a black face was presented by useful idiots like Ice Cube, who basically was thinking he was talking about the streets, but was actually parroting the messages that the white supremacists wanted to be put out there to influence black children to stop thinking about going to school, stop thinking about going to college, stop thinking about going to work, because those were quote-unquote white things. I know this because I experienced this again back in the 80s, and you have Candace Owens, who again wants to be an opportunist to try to revise history. Same thing with Ice Cube here. They don't want to present you with the facts of what actually happened in that time, and again, don't want to present you with the facts because these bootlicks, again, basically want to fit their narrative to fit their paymasters like Tucker Carlson and the people at Fox News. And Candace Owens, again, looking for that job, looking to get in. But this is why new black media is important, because new black media is going to present you with the truth. And again, the truth is, when it came to gangster rap, again, this was manufactured by the media arm of white supremacy and made to appeal to an audience of mostly white folks, because white folks basically want us. This is what Ice Cube calls the fans wanted. No, the only fans of gangster rap are white kids, because black kids, we know that gangster rap wasn't about presenting us in a positive light. It wasn't talking about us the way we needed to be talked about. And again, while the feds may not have written many of Ice Cube's songs, they took advantage of Ice Cube, again, a useful idiot in the media arm of white supremacy, who did their dirty work. And he basically confessed to this in his song No Vaseline. Again, this whole institution, he wants to, again, try to say that the only people who wanted it were white people, because this fits into their smooth world as related to their image of black people, seeing this gangsta, which basically was a repackaging of the black brute and the coon. That's basically what that gangsta was, that thug was. It was a caricaturized image of black men that fit the white supremacist idea. And as Ice Cube and Dre and all them played that role, these bootlicks basically got their reward with the devil and basically made their bargain with the devil. And again, this is what they don't want to tell you as related to things. And the whole thing is that when it comes to Ice Cube, he's basically thinking he can still do things, not understanding what's waiting for him is the reward that Diddy got. Again, the same reward, because again, this gangster rap was never about black people. No, it was never about empowering black people. It was a construct of white supremacy, and it was a construct of black culture. But the whole thing is, Candace Owens wants to take talking points I have been making for over a decade and try to milk them to try to find herself a job. And it just shows you how she's been watching new black media. She's been watching new black media, desperately looking for a way to get herself somewhere, But we all know who Candace Owens is. We know that she's a traitor. We know that she's full of it. We know that she is no different than Ice Cube in selling out the black community. And everything that she says is basically a lie. And the whole thing is basically she tells a half-truth, not understanding a half-truth is a lie. And this is why we need new black media, because new black media is going to present you with the truth. New black media, like myself and guys like Professor Black Truth and many others, will present you with the truth of that time, the truth of the history of that time. And the truth is, when it comes to gangster rap, most of the gangsters were really in the corporate boardrooms, in the business suits, the A&R people. Now, Ice Cube will sit there and try to defend it and say, oh, Dre was his A&R. No, he was not his A&R. He was the guy who went back to the A&R people. And those A&R white folks basically went out here and said what was going to be made, because they were the ones who controlled the media and controlled the narrative. They were the ones who said what was going to get published on their imprints. I know this because, again, I've been a publisher for over 15 years, and I've also studied the entertainment industry for over 25. And again, they wouldn't have, if he was going out here making things that did not fit their narrative, they basically would not publish that stuff at all. So that's where I see Ice Cube being disingenuous. But the whole thing is that when it comes to the whole foundations of gangster rap, the foundations of gangster rap didn't come from black people. No, the foundations of gangster rap are straight out of white supremacy. Now, if you want to pick up some of my books that talk about life in the 1980s, that show you what life was like as related to the blights in places like the Bronx and Harlem, you can pick up my novel, Spellbound, which goes in depth and showing you the horror show that was going on as related to the crack epidemic. And you can also pick up my book, John Haynes, 1987, which shows you what life was like in the 1980s and how people still had hope during that time where where it was burnt down buildings and abandoned lots. I mean, I draw from my life experience for both of those books and show you a rich picture of what actually went on before the gangster rappers basically tried to reframe the narrative to fit white supremacy. Now, I have other positive books in addition to Spellbound and John Haynes 1987, and you can find all those books in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com. You can find the books of the ISIS series, the Steam series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, and you can also find my black sorority novel, The Thetas, and my vampire novel, Eternal Night. All those books are available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, and they're also available at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos talking about the entertainment industry, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant editions of John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose on Amazon.com today. Now available in paperback and Kindle, Vampires Stalk the Darkness of the Eternal Night. Get your copy of Eternal Night in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com. Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.